Beep, 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 beep. Ring-a-ring.
Oh, hi. Hello.
Oh, hi. May I speak to...
I'm gonna put it on speakerphone if that's
Oh,
cool.
yes, it's fine. I'll do the same.
Okay, great.
May I speak to Ian Williams of Nepco Guitars?
Speaking. Is
Yes,
this Emily?
it is.
Wow. Hey.
Emily of the Lipstick Pickup Podcast. Nice to see you again, Ian.
Likewise. Likewise.
I'm calling my friend Ian Williams today in Des Moines, Iowa, to introduce him to the people who listen to my podcast who don't already know who he is, because he has a lot of fans out there, as a guitar builder, a luthier, and a music community member of Des Moines, Iowa. And we've been connected so long on social media. You were there from the very beginning. I date things through my Instagram account, and you're one of a handful of recreationists, resurrectionists of Danelectro-esque guitars. And that's how we got connected on social media, right? Isn't
I
that
think
right?
I think you just started showing up in my feed, and I started liking your posts, and here we are.
I started liking your guitars.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And more importantly, my friends who know how to actually play guitar liked your guitars.
That's really cool too.
Friends who really know their guitars, who owned one of your guitars in particular. And anyway, we've been following each other. I love what you're doing there in Des Moines, Iowa. And it all intersected in the beginning of what I'm now calling my big year, going for the gold. In the winter, do you remember when we first started messaging about this guitar that sits over my shoulder?
I do indeed.
Was it January or February of this year?
Oh, I don't remember it that well. Was it
Okay.
that long ago? Has it been almost a year?
The thing that really started it off, I've been telling people that I had this dream of an electric sitar. The more I was learning about electric sitar construction, and that it really is about the buzz bridge, I had this dream about a flying guitar. In the shape, that's so iconic in rock instruments. And that I thought it would be great to have one with a buzz bridge. Now, I have to be honest, I think the recording I made with my friend in New York City who owns one of your treasured flying guitars, is that a 4 pickup that he's got, or is that a 2 pickup? Do you know the one I'm talking about?
I'm trying to remember which one he ended. We're talking about
It's
Rob
Mastriani.
Mastriani. I know it's a light blue from one of my earlier runs, and I don't remember if it's got 2 lipsticks or if it's 2 lipstick humbuckers, but either way, it's wired like it's a 2 pickup guitar.
He really loves that guitar, and uh, it kind of matters to me what he thinks, because he's been a Danelectro nerd since he was a young guitar player. Almost immediately, they were one of his favorites. And
Well,
so
if he's a Danelectro nerd, that's exactly who I want loving this stuff. So that was such a huge compliment to know that he likes it, you know?
that's your target audience. That's your target market. That's why your guitar looks like an arrow. It's the
Yeah,
arrow straight to my heart.
precisely.
But he loves the way that it sounds, and he's used it on recordings. And he did a demo with me on a podcast, and I think we recorded in January. I remember it was the
What?
dead of winter, and I wanted him to be my first one for the year, and he talked about it, and I knew that he loved that guitar. He had showed it to me before. I'd seen it in person. I've seen him a bunch up in New York. We've now been friends nearly 5 years, and I'd seen it before, but when he recorded with it and he played it, I was sitting there dreaming while we're recording. I would love to have a electric guitar with a buzz bridge. And I heard from you, and you said, in this flying shape. And I had this dream. It's a silly, indulgent one, and crazy. And Ian Williams responded to the call of the wild.
I don't even think it's that crazy. It's a logical step for me, you know? This was my first sitar, so it was a lot of fun. It's not just my first sitar that I had built. It was really the first one that I spent any time with. I don't have a huge range of guitar stores in my area. And as far as I can recall, I'd never even had a chance to sit down and like spend some time with any electric sitar stuff. So this was really like it's probably a big part of why it took me so long to get it to you too. It was a big learning experience for me and just sort of figuring out how all the pieces needed to play together to make everything work out and be in tune and do the buzz that it was supposed to do and all that kind of stuff. So it's just
Yeah, I guess if you hadn't handled one, it really would be. You had to do it over several months because that was your schedule, and would hear from you from time to time with questions. In the beginning, you thought about making your own bridge for a while.
I'm still kicking around that idea. You sent me the Goto Buzz Bridge, which is what makes it sound like a sitar, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and I put it on. I have like a test platform that's just a couple slabs of plywood with the neck bolted to it, so I can try some stuff out. And I put it on there to sort of get a sense of how it worked and how it needed to be adjusted and where I was going to need to place it along the scale length of the instrument so that we could get it to play in tune on all the strings. It's such a simple, the buzz bridge itself is such a simple idea for what it's doing to generate that sound. I thought, well, no, maybe I could improve on this. And so I spent a long time kind of trying to make my own version of it in one way or another, which I don't want to go into details on because it could still happen. But it got to the point where I had just messed around with it long enough, and I got something that sounded good to my ears, and then I compared it with the Goto. And while they both did the sitar thing, they sounded different. And if you were used to hearing the Goto bridge, I didn't want to try to force this other sort of tweaked version of that sound on you and thought, okay, let's just quit screwing around and get this guitar built. So we just we went with the classic, with the tried and true buzz bridge that's on every Danelectro sitar that's out there, you know.
Yeah, I endorsed, you trying to make your own in any way your approach because I had infinite, confidence of any idea that you had to go with it, and, I love the idea if you ever do develop a buzz bridge because there's a market out there. I
I've
continue
I've still got all the parts, so it's not the idea is not dead. I just need to put a little time into something else for a while, I think.
I'm jumping jumping ahead into the gear talk part, but, I know that you spent so much time on this guitar, and it really means so much to me. And everyone who has ever played it has thought it was really something. It sounds killer.
I'm honored. I'm glad it turned out. I don't like of course I needed to spend time on it. I don't want to put something out that I'm not proud of, you know. That's such a big part of it for me. This is realistically making guitars is like a passion project for me. If I'm not proud of what I'm selling to people, I don't even know what the point of doing it is, you know?
That's why I have so much interest and respect for people who build guitars the way you're doing with your company, Nepco, and your employment with Built there in um, Des Moines.
Mhm.
And because there's the time you spend building it and then the time you imagine things. And I know you're sitting there scrambling eggs and you're thinking, should I do it this way?
Yep. The nights that I'm laying down trying to go to bed and I'm thinking, well, okay, so if the curvature goes like this, then maybe what I need to do is elongate. And then, yeah, there were plenty of nights where I'd get up out of bed and like write something down or run downstairs to my workshop and rough something out just so I had like so I could remember the starting point that I landed on in my drifting off to sleep hours or whatever. But yeah, it was all consuming for a little while there. But
It's almost like time you can't be compensated for, and I had a couple of young guitar players that have a flair for, lipstick pickups over here a couple of weeks ago, and we were looking at all, and they were playing it, looking we plugged it into a little amp, and I told 'em, I said, "I feel like there's no amount of money that I could have paid them for this." You know, our transaction was so more than fair because I know that you spent so much time considering it. It took months, and then you're always great to communicate with me about everything, even the color, you know, when we were, deciding, you know, when the color was right, and what we were going for because I wanted it to be green, and
Of
you just
course.
took I don't wanna oversell you because it might make people think that you're gonna wait on them hand and foot for months,
Appreciate that.
but you spent so much time and so much consideration, and I really do appreciate it. It's my dream guitar, and
I'm glad that means a lot. I'm glad you like it.
you called it the Vardaman, it is the Vardaman, we call it the Birdman, it sounds beautiful. It's got the pickups and with his name on it by Rio Grande Pickups, and it is a work of art. And the headstock is also just maybe I'll take it down before we get down. But anyway, so that's enough about my flying guitar and how we met. But that's how we communicated over the course of the year. And then I got to drive to Des Moines to get it, which you could have shipped it. But shipping, you told me shipping guitars is its own stress, isn't it?
Yeah, first off, it's hard to find a box that's big enough for a guitar that's shaped like that and still have padding
Yeah.
around it. And I just shipped a guitar to somebody else, and I think I said something to him right after I shipped it, where about like now we enter the 4 days of nerves, just hoping that it doesn't get absolutely obliterated on the way down there. And I put insurance on everything, and if it got destroyed, I don't think anybody's out anything because of it, but it just seems
It would be
so
heartbreaking, though.
senseless to put that many hours into something and then just have somebody drop another box on top of it or something. So yeah, I don't love shipping stuff. I
Yeah.
do a lot of it, but if you're willing to drive here, that certainly makes it a lot easier on me.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and jump right in and give my pitch for the Des Moines tourism board. And I told you when we first started doing this that I wanted you to be as paid as fairly as I could do it, but I wanted to save on opportunities and that did want to make a trip out to America's heartland. And I said, what if I came to pick it up? This is something that would cost me to drive there, but you wouldn't have to charge me for the shipping. And you also wouldn't have to worry about all that. And so I said, great, I'll come to Des Moines. It was in the dead of winter at the beginning of this year. And at the end of July, I finally got to go to Des Moines and get it. I think it was around August 1st, into July.
Yeah, right around there.
And it was the best time to go to Des Moines. It was absolutely beautiful. There are just fields of green everywhere you looked, and the weather was beautiful. And I really fell in love with Des Moines. It's a very nice town. And I told you when I was there that I wanted to promote your business any way I could or the gentleman's at Bill, because if we got so many guitars going out of there coming to Nashville, I would become your guitar courier.
Yeah, I would love it. I would love it. Think of the stress that would be lifted from my shoulders.
White glove service.
Absolutely.
Because I really enjoy driving in Iowa because it's different than around here. We have all these mountains and things you can crash into. In Des Moines,
There's nothing to worry about here. It's all very flat.
the driving is just and the fields, they are just majestic to me. I mean, I have a real sentimental memory of that trip, listening to music, looking at these beautiful cornfields, and Des Moines was really nice. Everyone I met there was nice. I had great food, and I got to meet Ian Williams.
Here I am.
It was kinda dramatic because I had driven all day from Chicago, and I got there, and it was raining, and, I was almost late, and I got to see built. What y'all are doing there is unique.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was impressed with, the gentleman I met there and the whole scene there, and then I got to meet you, and it was such a pleasure to meet you. I had a nice time visiting with you, and now I get to do it with my listenership watching, so excited about it. All right, where did it all start for Ian Williams with guitar building? Because you're a guitar player. I saw it. It's right here on my wall. You see this?
That's true. I play guitar. That's me. Where did it start with building?
When did you start playing guitar? I don't know if we talked about this, if you don't mind
Started
my
playing
asking.
guitar in 1998. I bought myself my first electric guitar on Christmas Eve when I was 14, and it was only like I think maybe that was the year. No, I don't know. Maybe well, it was within that first year I saw the Danelectro reissues that were new at that point, and they just jumped off the wall, you know, like everything. Nothing else looks like a Danelectro. They have the stripe around the outside. They got the unusual knobs and all those '90s reissues. They were doing a bunch of the bursts too that were like tan in the middle that go out to the color.
Yeah.
They all looked like tables from a diner or the dashboard of a car from the '50s or whatever. Which I know everybody says that same thing about them, but it's true. It's true, and they really stuck out to me. And I bought a used one off a classmate of mine, probably the year after I started playing, and really liked it. And at some point, sold off all my guitars so I could get a Gibson. But then, shortly after that, I missed the Danelectro and found this one in a pawn shop for 80
Cool.
bucks, and thought, well, it's 80 bucks. I better go ahead and get it. And I just kind of haven't looked back since then. I fell back in love with it, and just started gobbling them up whenever I could.
So this is like our origins to when you started playing guitar, it was immediate with Danelectro.
Pretty pretty close to day one. I would say within the first 6 months of playing, I started seeing Danelectros around, and was just I didn't have a lot of money back then to be buying guitars, but was taken with them visually at the very least, and I didn't know much about them until later. Uh, but yeah, it's hard not to notice them.
Yeah. Rob Mastriani is the same way, right from the very beginning. Y'all have that in common. So when you first started playing guitar, you were playing on a Danelectro typically, or?
No, my first guitar was a Strat copy, and it was the late '90s, and I was a kid, and I was playing heavy metal and alternative rock and that kind of stuff. And when I had my first Danelectro, that's what I was doing on there too. But I was impressed by. I knew they were like lower output single coil pickups, but when I ran it through distortion, it still sounded really thick and rich.
Hmm.
And was just really impressed by like this, a guitar that looks like it's straight out of the '50s is still able to do like the alternative rock stuff I was doing at the time.
Mm.
And then fast forward to my 20s and 30s when I was playing in sort of punkish bands and stuff. I was playing Danelectros and all of those too with fuzz pedals, and they just work. They've got their own thing going for them, and just kind of would take whatever I throw at them, which never stopped impressing me.
Okay, so when did you decide to start building a guitar?
Think the idea occurred to me probably like 10 years ago. I had the idea to start doing some like '50s guitar shapes that have been since the '50s re been acquired by like the heavy metal scene. If you think about trying to choose my words wisely here, there's some old guitars that are really classically retro futuristic shapes, but nobody acknowledges them as that anymore. And I thought, let's try to revive some of these shapes and like pay tribute to the retro roots that they actually have. And when I started thinking about how I could do that, doing like a Danelectro build just made sense, because there's nothing more like retro looking than a Danelectro to me.
Yeah.
And I was dealing with I wasn't a guitar builder, and I had a pretty limited set of tools and just a small workshop at home. And the more I looked at my Danelectros and looked inside my Danelectros and understood how they were built, the more I was like, I could do this with what I have. And so I started. Eventually, it took a long time, a lot of thinking and just kicking it around, but I think it was probably maybe like 2018, 2017 that I made myself one. And then over pandemic, I kicked it into high gear and thought, if I could make one, why not make some more and see if anybody else wants them? And haven't really slowed down too much since then.
Wow. So you're completely self-taught. I know that you've worked with other guitar builders and
Yeah.
you've learned some things, but where did you learn it all? Just tearing them into reverse engineering or?
Uh, by the time I was trying to build my own stuff, I had a job as a repair tech in some local shops. I worked at Guitar Center for a long time, and when they started their repair program,
Okay.
I jumped at the chance to do that, and they sent me off. it was extremely brief, like 1 weekend training to sort of make sure that everybody was up to speed on how to do like, setups basically. But that's kind of like they bought me
Mhm.
some tools and stuff too. And so that's where I started looking at what I had and what I could use to make guitars. And my dad has always been like a jack of all trades kind of guy. And for years gave me tools for Christmas. And I go, "Oh, cool, a jigsaw. I'll probably use that for something," and put it in my basement. Cool, it's a router. I'll probably use that for something and just put it in my basement. And then when it came time to start building stuff, I was like, oh, I have the stuff for this. And now that I've gotten a little bit of training as far as like how router bits work so that you can like route a hole in a guitar for a pickup install, like it all just kind of clicked into place. And I thought I can just make templates by hand and then use the router to turn them into guitars. So that's what I ended up doing. And now that I'm working at Built, I started at Built about 5 years ago, and it's like 3 minutes from my house, and I have access to their workshop all the time. And I'm super indebted to those guys for not only the space to work out of and the tools to do it with, but just the amount of knowledge that those guys have shared with me and my years of doing assembly and stuff with them to just refine my processes and hone my skills a little bit more. I owe so much to those guys. So Tim, Patrick, thank you.
Gold star. I was so impressed with the things that I saw that y'all were doing there. And I was trying to explain to people since I've come back what Build does, and people were already aware of them. Was it you that explained they're very sophisticated electronically? Is that right?
A lot of them are. That's sort of what got Built off the ground was putting effects inside their guitars. So, there's a lot of effects like delays and that kind of stuff that you want to tweak the knobs on while you're playing to give life to the sounds that the pedal's making. And it kind of stinks to have to do that if that's like a big thing in your playing is to tweak those settings on the fly. If you're playing with pedals, you got to squat down and do it on the ground and whatnot. And
Yeah.
so those guys had the idea of, and there's some guitars from the 70s that kind of do this too in a slightly different way. But they were building pedals inside their guitars, so you had access to the controls up here where your hands are,
Hmm.
and you can be modifying that stuff on the fly as part of your playing without having to divert your attention and your physicality to something else. So that's I would say not it's not all that we do. We make a lot of more like basic kind of guitars that are doing just normal guitar stuff, but that is definitely uh an identity thing for Built is
Gotcha.
doing a lot of effects in their guitars.
I want to say for anybody that doesn't know that Built is spelled BILT. They have the coolest logo too. I like
I was between a Built shirt or a yellow shirt, and I think I chose the right one, it looks like. But
yes. We're gonna get into why I call you the American Goldfinch, so you're dressed correctly.
good.
So you started working at Built, and that their access and then learning more has been helpful there too, I guess. That's astounding. You're a self-made man, Ian.
Yeah. Gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Fantastic. I want you to tell me about your musical life there in Des Moines a little bit because you gave me this vinyl, this record for people of my generation when I was there, but you also gave me a disc, and I'm a disc person. I love to listen to discs in my car. I have a CD player, and I love the Surf Zombies.
Thank you.
And I know you have other incarnations. I want to know all about them. Anything you want to tell me or willing to
The
tell
only
me.
only band I'm playing in right now is Surf Zombies. I've been in the band for probably about 15 years now. Since before I moved to Des Moines. They're actually based out of Cedar Rapids,
Wow.
which is closer to where I grew up and lived before here. So we've got hours between band members. So we don't practice as much as some bands, but we're pretty active playing shows, and the internet is very helpful for sending song ideas back and forth. And somebody's got a new song, we send out demos to each other and instructional videos and try to run it at sound check if we get a sound check before the show, and then play it live and hope nobody notices if we screw something up.
How many miles is between Cedar Rapids and Des Moines?
That's about a 2-hour drive for me to get to see.
Wow, I'm impressed. I have friends who've had bands together for a long time that they live in different cities, and I appreciate the dedication that you have to do.
It makes you treat it a little different than if we were all in the same town. There was definitely a time where we'd get together and practice regularly, and now it's like maybe once or twice a year we'll schedule a practice, but most of the time we're just kind of flying on our own, and we do enough like long shows, doing like 2 or 3 hour shows that we kind of don't feel like we fall out of knowing how to play with each other quite as much as maybe if we were just doing 25-minute sets or something, you know?
Yeah. I've been keeping track on the socials because y'all do play around and tour regionally, would you call that?
Yeah,
Cities.
for the most part.
Where's the farthest place you've gone this year?
This year we went out to Maryland and played. Our record label is Missing Think Records, and Missing Think does a Halloween show and had been asking us to come out and play there for years. And this year they were putting out our seventh studio album, and at some point I think they're going to be putting out our self-titled debut on vinyl for the first time with a new mix. And they asked us to come out. I was like, all right, I think now's the time we got to do it. So we drove all the way out to Maryland and
How
played a
long
show.
is that?
I don't know. We broke it up over a few days. We played in Michigan on the way, and then
Okay.
I crashed in Pittsburgh the next night. I think it was maybe like a 12, 12-hour drive, something like that. I can't keep track.
That's a long haul.
It was a long haul. Yeah.
Did you have fun?
Yeah. It's great.
Are you gonna come to Nashville someday?
We've been to Nashville, as you know,
Yes.
for at least Lebanon. We played at Jack's Guitarcheology. When was that? That was a couple years ago. We played in Atlanta for a surf festival called the Southern Surf Stomp. You know, booked some shows there and back, and Jack's was on our way back through. I think we did like a Sunday night. It was our last show on our
Yeah.
little 5-day mini tour, and finally got to meet Jack again after years of casually knowing him without really knowing him. If you've watched the episode with Jack, he goes over it in great detail.
Yes, he does. The bombastic Jack from Jack's Guitarology. And just so you know, if you're here in Tennessee, you call it Lebanon.
Ah, well, I see.
Lebanon, Tennessee.
I'm a Midwestern boy. I don't know these things, so thank you.
Lebanon is in the metro area. You have played Nashville, but I really want you to come play again, and I will street team the hell out of it because I love this record. I've listened to it a lot,
Well, thank you.
and I love the band. Do you do any with vocals? Is it all instrumental or
Surf Zombies is all instrumental. We'll maybe,
yeah.
shout things here and there, but we're not doing any like
Yeah.
vocal parts.
I'm really starting I was always so into lyricists and lyricism for so long with the Beatles, everything. Randy Newman, all my favorites. But I'm getting really to where I love instrumental music. I think I told you when I got back and I really put it in heavy rotation that it was like my Bond girl soundtrack in my car. I drive a Mini Cooper.
Perfect. Yeah,
Is that
instrumental music just hits different for me. I'm not obviously, I love the Beatles and the Beach Boys. I love the Beach Boys. They're probably like, if I had to pick a all lifetime favorite band, it's probably the Beach Boys, and they are such a vocal centric band that it seems ridiculous for me to say, but I'm not really I'm not a words guy, bad lyrics can spoil a song for me really quick, and good lyrics can sell a song, but there's 90% of the music I know, I've heard the words for the last 35 years or whatever, and half the time I'll look at the lyric sheet at now and go, oh my God, that's what they're saying the whole time. Like, it just doesn't, something about it just doesn't click with me the way that it does
yeah.
with most people. So when I got the opportunity to be in an instrumental band, it was sort of like, that seems, that seems like it makes sense. You just focus on the song. And I think all of our songs are still really like, we're not like a big improvisational kind of band.
Yeah.
It's not a riff with just a noodling over the top of it. We're still structuring stuff like pop songs for the
Yeah.
most part, where there's a backing track and then like a melody on the top of it that's got a hook and
Mhm.
has purpose. So it's really all the things I love about music. I just don't have to focus in on the words part that I've never been good with to begin with. So
It's lyrical guitar playing, it's like it's instrumental, but I can hear a story when I
that's
listen to it.
perfect.
It's
That's
so
perfect. That's what we want.
and, anyway, I love the band, I love this, and you're working on a new one now?
Waiting on the record plant to get it to us. It's on streaming. It's on
Oh,
CD. We had like a limited run of pre-release vinyls that we got for our when we went out to Maryland for that show. We had 50 copies on transparent green vinyl that are sold through already, but we should hopefully have our standard run of those any day now. It's called Monster A Go Go. It's our 7th studio record, all originals, and it's online everywhere. Go ahead and listen to it.
I love it, it's great stuff, and I hope you'll come to Nashville sometime.
Absolutely.
I'll street team the hell out of it
Yeah,
because
I'm hold you to it.
I think I'd love to get all the guitar players I know around here to show up. Is this original lineup? I mean, has it really been this tight, this long, or and you don't have to tell me every little thing, but I'm wondering about the members. You,
Okay, so
yeah,
so Brooke, the other guitar player, is the only founding member of the band. For their first 2 records, they went through a bunch of lineup changes and kind of like the second record has a bunch of different drummers on it. It was sort of just a collaborative Brooks project with whoever else could be a part of it, and I think he kind of leveled out with a couple of different lineups along the way, but then I was working on mixing their third record and their other guitar player quit and I knew half the songs because I'd heard them so much from mixing them and just got pulled in and then we lost the bass player and I pulled in my buddy Trevor and then we lost our drummer and Trevor pulled in his buddy Luke and we've had this lineup for probably 12 or 13 years now. So this is the Surf Zombies as far as I'm concerned.
gotcha. So I always see Trevor playing. A lot of times he's playing a Dano.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What is this that he's playing a lot, or does it change often?
His bass is 30-inch scale Danelectro. It's a reissue from probably 2007-ish.
Yeah.
And I've got one and he's got one, so we kind of trade off. If his needs work, I'll give him mine for a few shows while I get some work done to it and then trade back and stuff. But that's
Handy.
been his bass the whole time.
And what is your gear with this band?
My main guitar in that band is a 63 Fender Jaguar. I know it's not a Danelectro, but it's like the quintessential surf guitar as far as I'm concerned. But I do play Danos I play baritone on some songs, so I've got a
Yeah.
handful of Dano baritones that I play or Nepco baritone from time to time. But I just sold my Surf Zombies Nepco baritone to a guitar player I met when we were out in Maryland. So that has a new home now.
Score for him, lucky guy or girl, whoever.
His name is Charles. He's a tremendous guitar player, and I'm happy that he has it now. I can always make myself another one, right?
Congratulations. So you met him out there and he
Yeah,
saw it and
his band was
coveted
on the
it,
bill with
or
us at that show in Maryland, and he asked me about the baritone and started hitting me up about making him one. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I just sell him the one he's already seen and knows he likes? And he got it yesterday, so it's fresh.
did you ship it?
Yeah, I did reluctantly, but it made it safe and sound.
Congratulations to all involved. Congratulations, Charles.
Congratulations, Charles. Thank you, Charles.
So thank you for the information on the Surf Zombies. I wanted to pitch them because I think it's cool and I hope to see y'all here. Anything else you want us to know about the Surf Zombies?
I think that sums it up pretty good. Check out our new record. It's been a long time coming, and I'm happy to finally have it out of purgatory and in the world.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I can't wait. I somehow missed it. It was on streaming already. I need a Surf Zombies t-shirt.
We got plenty of t-shirts. So many t-shirts.
Okay, so we've talked about what you're doing there in Des Moines, how you learned how to build guitars and how I met you and how you came to build my beautiful guitar. Now we're going to get into what everybody really came here for, gear talk.
Gear talk.
Because Ian, I've been needling you about coming on my podcast for a while.
Thank you for waiting on me to get everything perfectly in line so that we could make it happen.
It's another reason why it's my big year. It's November the 30th. The year's coming to a close, and you said you were busy working on this guitar and it would be a reason to, show people it. And that's why we're finally getting around to it. But maybe should we save that one for the last? Should we talk about these other things that you've got? Do you want to show me what you've got
Sure.
there?
I mean, for the most part, I've just got a bunch of Danelectros. Let me pick a couple of cool ones, I suppose. I like this body back here. This, I'm not sure what year this is from, but it's old. At one of the guitar shops I was working at, the owner passed away, and so they were getting rid of a lot of his collection, and I managed to snag a couple of the Danelectros he had. I don't know if you can see the finish on this, but I think it was maybe originally burgundy
Hmm.
or maybe black or maybe both at some point, and then somebody did this white kind of house paint situation over it, and it has checked so beautifully. It's such, I love a good tattered old guitar that has a story to tell. And
It looks like a shop guitar.
I love it. The neck was all screwed up, so I'm probably just gonna end up making a new neck for it. But someday, this is a future project I'm excited about. Um, got this single pickup pro that I think is pretty cool. I'd never seen one of these with the faux wood grain like this until I saw this one. But this
Isn't
was,
it wonderfully corny?
oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. And I love that they did the actual binding as well as the vinyl stripe, but you can still see this like
Oh,
slab of raw masonite between the two.
excellent.
Speaking of corny, but this was going to be, I got this because of customers of mine at a guitar shop in Cedar Rapids. I found out it was going to be hung on the wall in a bar as wall art. And I was like, come, you can't do that. You can't do that. It's a perfectly good guitar. It's a perfectly cool guitar that's totally playable. After months of prodding, a couple of guys who knew the owner of the bar finally got it off the wall for me. And I did a heat press. The neck straightened out really nicely. I re-radiused it with a 9.5-inch radius because old Danos are really, really flat, and that doesn't work for me. I play a lot of bar chords.
Could I see the headstock? Could you put the headstock in the yes, there you go. Oh, that's a beauty.
It's been split, and they closed it up with these two like sheet metal screws. It's a pretty cheesy repair, but it worked, and I love it. I love that it's part of the story of the guitar, so it stayed there. Looks like
Yeah.
somebody probably had a capo on the headstock for a lot of years because it's just a Nelectro now, but
Coke bottle.
it's got the original tuning keys and everything. This is I don't play a lot of these live.
It's
This sits in my living room and I gaze at it from my couch. Go, God, that looks cool.
is it the kind of guitar that you like to strum if you're working picking something out, or you just like to look at it?
Both. It's I end up playing it unplugged most of the time. It's sort of a have it in the room and noodle around on it kind of
Yeah.
guitar. I can't. So many of these I can't play live because we in a surf band you're using your vibrato so much, and these are all fixed bridge guitars. So that's why I play Danos for baritones because I can be. I'm not doing as much wiggly stuff on a baritone. I'm kind of holding it down a little bit more there,
Yeah.
and I can get by with it. And then here's one. I played in a fuzzy punk band called the Wheelers for a lot of years, and this was my main Wheelers guitar.
I have had people explain to me who the Wheelers are, and I've listened to it.
Really?
Yes, I think it's on streaming, some of it, right?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I love it.
There's a lot of Danelectro sounds on those
That
records.
is so bitchin'. Okay, first of all, did you do this, or what happened to the original?
I have the original pick guard. I took it
Okay,
off because I wanted to mod it and I didn't want to cut up my original pick guard, so I just copied it. But
okay,
what I've got going on here, I did just a master volume and tone, and then this guy is a push pull
look at you.
that if you, I've got this 4-pin like XLR style plug that comes out to a breakout cable because I was using a pedal. It was a pitch shifter pedal, and it has an input for an expression pedal. And that's what this knob does. When this knob is pulled out, it activates as an expression pedal. So I can do any pedal that has an expression input. I can use this for an expression on there. Or if I just plug into the 1/4-inch jack, it works like a regular old guitar. And thought that was kind of cool.
That is some mad science right there. What is that stripe there? Is that wear from the original paint? What is going on there? What
I
is that?
think somebody had stickers there at some point and they
Okay,
peeled off because
all right.
this is just masonite under here.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know. That was before my time with the guitar. I bought
Where
this online from Music Go Round in another state.
yeah.
It was like $160 when I got it. Most of my guitars I've managed to get when they were still really cheap and nobody was paying top dollar for them yet, which is just my style.
If anyone ever feels like me talking about them all the time makes them go up in value, I don't think it does, but
I think the guitar market has done that to itself, for better or
yeah,
worse.
it's this weird thing. I love that one. You bought just the guitar, not an amp and case or anything like that?
I've had the amp and case models before. I had one that was a single pickup. It was a really short scale, like 22-inch scale or something. And actually, now that you mention it, I've got an amp case in the basement. I'm not even sure if it works right now, but kind of forgot I had that. I got it separate from this. This was
Yeah.
just the guitar.
That's a groovy one. What else we got? I see just guitars as far as I can see for the audio listener. He's got a couch back there.
Well, I got my Longhorn. I bought this. This was a 4-string bass when I got it, and I turned it into a 6-string tic-tac bass for a while, and now it's set up as a baritone. I was using this in Surf Zombies for a while as my baritone guitar, which now that the Nepco is out with Charles, it will probably make its return to the stage.
Yeah.
I like these because since the bridge is set back so far, it doesn't make me feel like I'm reaching out to play it as much
Yeah.
as I got a U2 baritone back there. Since the bridge is so much further forward, it kind of just shifts the whole ergonomics of the instrument out. And these are already long for baritones, so having everything sort of shifted back closer to my right hand makes it real comfortable for me.
It's also very surfy. I've noticed that Longhorns, kind of fits the vibe.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that
there's a
Longhorn
Link Ray
shape.
album where he's playing a guitar lid on the cover. I think it's a guitar lid, some sort of 6-string Longhorn. That type.
Yeah. It's such a weird shape and totally groovy.
Yep, I gotta it's ugly. I'll just say it. I think they're ugly, but I love them for what they are. It's so weird. It's so weird. There's no other guitar that looks like this. There's nothing that looks like this. It's like a
Is it
pickle fork.
I think this is a great time for me to butt in and let everybody know what kind of car Ian Williams drives.
Go for it.
What year is it?
It's from 1973,
Gremlin.
an AMC Gremlin. It's my second one I've owned, and I love it dearly.
It's
Another thing.
ugly and he loves it.
Yes, well, I guess it's ugly. It's
I took
ugly in a really charming way, and I also think it just looks awesome from certain angles. I love it. It turns a lot of heads.
Hey, I took pictures of it when I was out
Yeah, of
there.
course you did. Everybody does. I love that car.
Hey, you should use that for props, for a photo shoot.
It made it onto the cover of an album at some point, so
One
it's
of
not.
your bands or something
Yeah,
else?
when I
Yeah.
was Trevor, the bass player from the Surf Zombies, has a solo project where he goes by the name Trevor Blender, and there was a earlier incarnation of that was just the Blenders. That was me and him, and there's one album where we are posed like a couple of cool guys sitting on top of my Gremlin out
I
on the
gotta
street.
I gotta see that. And, sorry if you said this, but I want the audio or anybody when you say Trevor's Blender, it sounds like it's with an O at the end, right? And that's what's like, how is that it?
It's Blendor.
O-U-R. And that's why I love the Blendor, Blender, it sounds like, I just like the
Yeah, it was. I think he started it as a kind of a joke name for his project, the Blenders, back 15 years ago or whatever, and just decided to spell it like it was British or something, just for laughs, and it stuck around,
I like it.
still going.
So, Ian drives a Gremlin. You've got a flair for those things that only a mother could love. I love that Longhorn. It's ugly. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll take that.
Do you have any more ugly, beautiful guitars for me?
I don't know if I got any that have a real great story. We already saw my U2 that I got in college that kind of
Yeah.
kicked off my current obsession. I guess we got this old Silvertone. This came from the shop I worked at too, the same place that had that crusty old white one. You can see it. Maybe I've got drawn on here where we were gonna cut a hole for Telecaster pickup. My boss was gonna have me put a Tele bridge on this and make it into sort of a weird Tele Danelectro hybrid, and never got around to it. And now it's mine, and I say, sorry, Trent. I think it's just gonna keep living its life as a Danelectro once it gets put back together at some point.
Yeah.
Got the old dolphin nose headstock. Somebody has taken the paint off the back of the neck. That's kind of cool. I like that feel.
Mm.
I think it's crazy that these old ones just have a single row of screws holding the neck on. That seems like such an unstable way to do things, but it worked.
Yeah.
Can't argue with results.
So you like to build them and you also like to bring them back to life.
Yeah, I mean, bringing them back to life was kind of where it started. I remember talking to somebody I worked with who went to school for Luthery, and he was saying like, I don't want to do repairs. I just want to build stuff. And at the time, I was like, I don't. Everyone's built everything already. I think it's way cooler to be like given the bones of something and making it good again and breathing new life into it. But clearly things have shifted a little bit for me. There's certainly something to be said about having control over the whole process. Like I used to use my first like 15 guitars maybe that I made. I was using Danelectro necks that I got. If you know guitarfetish.com, they did factory buyout thing where I think there must have been a factory in China or someplace that had shut down, and they bought all the inventory of all of their unfinished parts, and it happened to coincide right with when I was starting to build stuff. So I bought 30 or 40 Danelectro necks from them, guitar and bass and 12
Oh.
string, and a bunch of them were crap. They had twists in them or had ugly spots on the wood or, for whatever reason weren't. But I did get to use a bunch of them. They were all unfinished, so there's no finish on them, no frets, no fretboard radius, no nut, nothing like that. It was just like the and the board glued onto it with slots cut. So I got to finish those however I wanted.
So it's sort of a gamble when you buy something like that. Some will be usable, some of them won't. Some you can take something from. It's just sort of like any,
Yeah, I would
yeah.
say like half of the necks I bought were actually usable, and the other half are in my basement because they had some sort of issue that made me not comfortable putting them on something I was going to sell to somebody. So I started making my own necks now, and just the ability to like pick out the wood that I want to use and knowing how it was built and knowing the conditions it was built in and how it was treated its whole life makes it so much easier for me to have confidence in what I'm doing because I have full control over it.
Yeah.
And the thing you don't get with repairs, it's like, here's this pile of sawdust. Can you make it play like $1,000,000? Maybe. Maybe, but if you get to have control of every step of the process, make the bodies, make the necks, make the bridges, make the knobs, all that stuff, you kind of know what you're working with. And you can't blame anyone but yourself if it doesn't work out. I
Yeah.
I prefer it that way, I think.
Yeah. I love to hear the thought on it from somebody like you.
There's still a certain excitement about being able to make something that has lost its luster workable again, as opposed to just being a wall hanger. It's maybe a little less gratifying than it was to me like 10 years ago.
Is it okay if I take this moment to take down my Nepco guitar and show it
Please?
off? Because it is a wall hanger.
Not the same as what I meant, but yes, absolutely.
I
Please.
wanted to dream something up more than anything
Mm-hmm.
and have a cohort, you, and,
I get it.
and it plays beautifully and it's one of a kind. Uh, and we discussed this, and for anybody who's listening who doesn't realize this, the Danelectro made the master sitar, the what Jerry Jones called the master sitar, the big one with 3 pickups with the sympathetic strings. And then they made the baby one. This is my Jerry Jones reproduction. So they had 3 pickups and then 1 pickup. And so part of this thing, and this is working with you because I think when we start dreaming this up together, I said, let's just make it simple. We'll call it the baby and we'll put 1 pickup in there. And then we decided to go to 2 pickups.
Mm-hmm. No, I think
It all happened pretty organically and it happened over months.
we got to talking and it just seemed like, well, if you think having 2 pickups in there would benefit it, go ahead and do it. And I'm a I'm a sucker for two pickup guitars. I really like, I don't know, all the sounds you can get out of that. I like neck pickups, bridge pickups. I like both of them together. And with something like this, especially where I didn't really know what I was building until it was done, it was kind of nice to have some extra sonic options there too, you know.
Now who gets to show off?
Please go for it. Looks
But
good.
because there was no prior to this, but it's not only a beautiful flying guitar, but there's no other electric guitars. I think Italia might make one. They call them Modinia, is something
Yeah,
Italia
yep.
made, and
I've seen
Eastwood
those.
might have some sitar they do two pickups. But this one, it was two pickups. They're designed to work together. And the day I brought this to Jack's shop, for some reason he had tons of guitar players in there. Do you know what a guitar pull is, Ian?
No.
Have you ever heard that expression?
Guitar pull?
You're gonna hate this.
Go for
Yes.
No, I'm
You're
uninitiated.
gonna you're gonna hate this because I was uninitiated when I moved to Nashville until I got invited to one, a guitar pull. It's basically a bunch of guys sitting around and then they trade the guitar and it goes around and it's a very acoustic
Mm,
country thing, and I got in trouble at a guitar pull for talking. This is a guitar pull, no talking.
all right. Guess you gotta focus in, right?
But we had an electric guitar pull that day because there was just a lot of people there. Jack's got some great guitar players working for him too.
Sure.
And anyway, they were all moving around and doing all kinds of things. Eastern scales, heavy metal, jazz, they were having a great time with this guitar and I was watching it in full range with those two pickups. But this
That's
is what you built it, but this is what I want to show people. Look at that headstock. Tell me again, how do you do this burn? Is it laser or
Yeah, we do that with a laser.
that's gotten some great comments from people, the work you did there on the headstock.
I love that font. For anybody who doesn't know, that's a font from the cover of Emily's dad's book about his record-breaking bird watching year. And she sent me a copy, and I saw that font, and I went, "Oh my God, what a perfect period correct, super cool mid-century looking font." I think we should lean into that for like the logo, and that's the font you used for the engraving on the pickups from Rio Grande, and
Yeah.
I love it. I'm still using that font for my headstock logos currently for the time being,
Collabing.
until I land on something else, I guess.
I love it, and my dad would really love it because he's a lot like you. He was exacting, but the way things looked were important to him. When you were first talking about you starting out as a guitar player and why Danelectro's appealed to you, it was the look.
Oh, of course.
Yes,
That's how
aesthetics.
that's how guitars sell, is the aesthetics. Like,
Yes,
maybe it shouldn't be if you're a player, it should be about what it feels like and what it sounds like, and how you connect with it on a physical sense, but I do think the aesthetics are part of that, at least maybe not for everybody, but for me, if I look down at a guitar, even if I love the way that it plays, if I look down and I hate the way it looks, I don't wanna play that guitar, you know? So yeah,
it
yeah,
matters.
there's you gotta make them appealing, and
Yeah.
Danelectros definitely did that for me.
Well, my dad was real distinct, so I'm sure whenever they were working with the publisher and all this, he was like, "This one, that one," and it's very 1979, and
I
that's a
appreciate his visual aesthetic then.
and the green, do we have a name for this green? Have you ever made a guitar in this green before? I know
Not
that
that exact green, we were shooting for, like, the Danelectro kinda forest green, but,
yeah,
I think this is just Nepco forest green.
I like it. It's flying, and it belongs in the forest, so it's good.
Perfect.
Okay, I got to show my guitar off. So, do you have any more before we get into the Nepco?
I think we should get into the Nepco.
This is perfect. I always try to keep these brief, because I don't wanna take people's too much time, and I thought, "Hey, a little bit more than an hour would be about right," and we're right there. We're gonna
Yep.
have the grand finale. Tell me, and I don't know anything, this is element of surprise, I have no idea what, Ian has been working on, but he's gonna show me.
Okay, well, I kinda stopped taking like actually taking orders for guitars a few years ago. I have had my whole life, people have said you don't want to turn your hobby into your job because then it's not fun anymore. It's just your job. And there was certainly a point with Nepco stuff where I had a waiting list. A lot of people just waiting to get stuff, and it started feeling like an obligation rather than something I was doing because I was excited about it. So I kind of took a step back, and I'm, for the most part, not really doing orders. I'm just making stuff and putting them up for sale. And typically, I put them up for sale
Mhm.
before they're painted, so whoever wants to grab it gets to pick what color it's going to be. But this one,
That's cool.
I decided to paint ahead of time because there are a few things I wanted to try out that we hadn't done before. And in the past, when I'm trying out new things that I haven't done before, it's already sold to somebody. And then when it doesn't go right, I have to scramble to make it work better. So I thought, let's just finish this one all the way. So this one's painted. It's not a new body shape or anything, but I got some things about it I'm kind of excited about. So
Ta-da!
as of right now, this bubblegum pink Astro is up for sale. This is my first single pickup guitar I've done. Yes, it appears to be two lipsticks, but they're really just wired together as one humbucker. And so this is my first rocker switch guitar. You've got a switch to choose between series and parallel wiring within the humbucker, so you get like a thicker sound or sort
Mhm.
of a quackier, almost like a Strat second position sound. And you can just turn it into a straight up single coil lipstick with this one, and then master volume, master tone. So you're getting three sounds out of one pickup. I thought that was kind of fun and new. This is the first one I've done. My painter, Howard, has painted every Nepco, and on this one, for the first time ever, we painted on the stripe instead of doing it with vinyl. I know maybe it's blasphemy, but the upside is it's still textured. It still looks just like a vinyl stripe, but it will never, ever peel off, which has
Yeah.
been something that is, and anybody who's talked to me about these guitars knows that that's something that's plagued me for years, and I've spent hours researching the right kind of adhesives to keep it on. And while I think I've got something for the vinyl that I'm pretty satisfied with, this kind of solves all those problems for me.
Yeah.
And it's still, Howard did a great job. I'm really happy with the way it turned out, and I'm excited that I will never have to fix it because it's adhered forever.
When I was there in your shop, you were working on that, and you showed me some of the samples, and it's beautiful. It's rounded, and it's just clean,
Yep.
perfect.
No chance of failure. No hot cars are going to make this peel off. No aggressive arms are going to peel it off. Nothing like that. It's just, it's all the things you want out of a vinyl stripe with none of the drawbacks.
It is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, and I recessed the neck bolts on this one for the first time too.
Okay.
'Cause sometimes all the tension from those bolts makes the paint kind of well up around them, which I've seen on some Danelectros too, but I wanted to fix that. So I think this might be my move going forward. Keeps it nice and flat back there. Nothing
Yeah.
getting in the way. Nothing to screw up the paint. And I think that's all the new exciting stuff on this one for me. I got a hard case for it. This is officially for sale now. It's $14.99 with the hard case plus shipping. Shipping's going to be around like 75 or $100, depending on where you're located and how much packing I cram in the box, because I'm very nervous.
Can I see the headstock?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's my first post post.
Okay, I gotta get a picture of this.
I got
And
it kind of like recessed in there. It's a little different than yours, but it's definitely still the same look. Stolen from the Birdman.
this is a historic moment for me. Way to go, Dad.
Yep. Thank you for lending me your font.
That color makes my mouth water. It's such a beautiful color.
I'm really a sucker for pastel colors on these guitars, especially the more like kind of outlandish body shapes like this. Something about like a wild body shape with just a really cute, lightweight kind of color.
Yeah.
This works for me. So hopefully somebody else
Congratulations.
wants a pastel pink guitar in a weird triangular shape, because I got one for sale.
I would love to have a reason to go up there and hand deliver it to someone in Nashville. I've got a bunch of Southwest tickets. I can fly to Des Moines and drive it back. We can work out a deal.
Nashville, now's your chance. Somebody got to step up.
Yes. I thought Des Moines was such a nice town. I wanted to see it in the wintertime. That more tourism. That waterfront, you're like, no, you don't. He's shaking his head. No, you do not want to see Des Moines in the wintertime.
No, not my favorite time of year, but to each their own. As long as you got good tires, because snow removal is questionable. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a wintertime guy. I like the summer.
I thought the area along downtown with the bridges, there's a couple, water everywhere you look in Des Moines. I was thinking about how beautiful that would be in the winter if it was snowing.
Probably is, but when it's snowing, I just hole up inside my house and go outside to dig my car out, and that's about it.
Yeah, the gremlin.
No, gremlins in the garage for the winter. We put salt on the streets up here, and
Uh,
so if the gremlin's out in the winter, it's just gonna rust away. It's 50 some years old. I gotta protect it.
it's a treasured classic car.
It is. Thank you. Also, I don't know if you've ever tried to drive a gremlin in the snow, but it's rear wheel drive and there's no weight in the back at all. It is a hellish, nightmarish experience to try to drive that thing on a snowy day. So, no, got it put in the garage last week.
Yeah.
In the garage, it will stay.
S- Uh, what do you call it? It hibernates for the winter,
Yes,
like a bear.
absolutely.
It goes off into the gremlin garage.
Yeah, and I'm so much more excited to see it again in the spring,
The gremlin, you identify the gremlin with the green fields of summer.
Yes, it is
The
absolutely
wind, the wind
the bring.
blowing through your hair.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
Oh my goodness. Well, we achieved it all. Have
Excellent.
I need to tell people why I call you the goldfinch of Des Moines. I'm trying to put this flying music, birds, it all goes together. What's your symbology? What's your bird? And when I came back, I started looking into Iowa, and the goldfinch is the state bird of Iowa. And I told Ian that he was the goldfinch of Des Moines. And that is why we matched today. We didn't plan this, we did not coordinate it.
No, it turns out that I have an affinity for sort of golden mustard colored shirts, hats, pants, and shoes. So I figured there was going to be a little goldfinch talk.
Yes, I have a thing for the color gold. And that's another thing about the coloration on my dad's book. You see that jacket right there?
I didn't even think of it. We're all one.
That's LL Bean gold.
Perfect.
I cannot thank you enough. We did it all. I wanted to explain to whoever doesn't know yet. And then some people know about your workmanship and they've seen your guitars and knew about you, but didn't know more about you. So I was able to illuminate people and find
Well,
out.
thank you for finally having me on, and after 5 years or whatever of sort of crossing paths from afar, it's been cool to actually make something for you, and I've come full circle and finally appeared on the podcast now. So mission accomplished.
It's my biggest year. This means so much to me. All the hours I could never adequately compensate you for. The dreaming, the consideration, the experimentation, and everything else, I could never adequately compensate you for.
Well, all that experimentation and stuff is the fun part of doing it anyway. If I get, like I said, if it becomes a thing where I'm just fulfilling orders and checking things off the list and doing stuff I've done before, it stops being an art project and a passion project and starts becoming manufacturing. And I've already got a full-time job. This should
Yeah.
be extra fun stuff on the side, right? So I'm glad we had the
Okay,
opportunity.
people have been asking me on that vein. People have been asking me if you would make another one of these. If somebody wanted another one of these, would you make another one of these?
This is such a hard question for me to answer because ultimately I really like just making whatever I'm excited about in the moment and putting it up for sale because that's what
Yeah.
keeps it fresh for me. But there are things like this where, like, I was thinking about making a guitar in a shape kind of like that anyway, and it seemed like a good opportunity to maybe fulfill an order or a guitar that I wouldn't have necessarily done that was also, the Venn diagrams of what you wanted and what I wanted were crossing.
Yeah.
So if it's, I don't know, never say never, but also don't be offended if you ask if you can order something and I just go like, not right now.
Yeah.
Cause, it all depends on what my free time's like and what I'm excited about doing. And I also busy enough with life and stuff that I don't like making people wait for 6 months to get a guitar or whatever. If somebody puts a down payment down and is expecting to get it, like I'm kind of I'm chipping away at this when I've got the time and the motivation to do it. So
I totally appreciate it too.
that was a really long non-answer to an easy question.
It's fair, everything that you're saying. Like, I'm never saying no, but probably not, and it took a long time, and that you're explaining how it works for your business now. Do you have a name for this new model that you've come out with? Do you have a name for it?
The pink one or yours?
The pink one.
The pink one. This is not the first one I've done in that shape. I call it the Astro.
Oh, the Astro. Okay.
Done a handful of these in the last 3 or so years, I think.
Okay, cool.
Maybe
Cool.
my third or fourth one.
Okay, cool. But you wouldn't be opposed to working with a buzz bridge again, would you?
No,
Okay.
I would not. If they're readily available or if somebody's willing to let me keep messing around with my own designs, maybe we can land on something cool. I got no problem with the Buzz Bridge. I am very familiar with the Buzz Bridge now.
Can I tell you that I kinda love your elaborate answer because if somebody asks me that again, I'm gonna say, "He might consider it," but
Yeah, I mean, it's a stupid way to do business, but ultimately this isn't a business. This is supposed to be something I want to do. And to keep it exciting, I just gotta roll with the punches, I guess, and do what's feeling good at the time.
yeah.
But yeah, have anybody who wants to hit me up. I'm on Instagram. I've also nepcoguitars.com does exist, but it's really just a link to my Instagram. That's where I do all my stuff. That's where I post things for sale when I've got them. Shoot me a message. I may not be super prompt in getting back to you, but I'll get back to you. You might not like my response, but at least I'm being honest, right?
I like the truth in advertising.
It's it,
I'd love to do business with you maybe.
yeah, I'd love to build a guitar and sell it to somebody and maybe that would be your guitar or maybe it won't. It just depends.
Yes. If you're lucky. You see why that's painted green? Lucky.
Well, yeah,
We're gonna
trust
call the green good luck green.
I'll take it.
But no, I get it. I have a business background and I've sold things and I understand diminishing returns and you have to approach it as a business and you also don't want to squeeze all the passion out of what you're trying to do. And
That's it exactly for me.
I appreciate it. Like, do you want a passionate guitar or do you want to bother me with your problems?
You want to keep hassling me to check if I have your guitar done yet or just wait and oh look, they put up a guitar that's for sale.
Yeah,
I will buy it and paint it green.
I kind of like that strategy because you're buying all this imagining that you're doing, this dreaming up that you do as a creator or guitar builder, things,
Mhm.
hey, do this, do that. Somebody's buying that. It rather than having, I want you to do this, I want it to be that, and
It
if that makes sense. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
absolutely. Yeah, it puts me in a different mindset because this way if I'm building it without anyone telling me what they want first, it's back to me making a guitar for myself ultimately and I'm not like I was really like shaking my head at decisions that people were making on their orders or anything like that. But I have a different attachment to it and a different investment in what I'm doing. If it's just if it's just me making something that I want to make, it lands different. I hadn't really thought about it like that until you brought it up just now. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is. This is a passion, excitement, experimentation guitar instead of a
Yeah.
fulfilling an order kind of guitar.
Yeah. They're buying your imagination.
Yeah.
And that's actually what it should be about. The way you're approaching your business now after experience, because you've been, how long did you sell your first one? How long is it you've been selling
Uh,
guitars of your own build?
it was during like the heat of pandemic in 2020 that I sold my first one. So about
Okay.
5 years ago.
Yeah. You've learned.
I guess almost. I guess we'd be coming up on 6 years ago. March will be the anniversary of when that hit. So
Yeah.
yeah. 5, 6.
experience of doing business. And I told you when we first started, you were so indulgent of me and my cockamamie dreams. I was it just whenever, and that was our agreement, whenever you get it done, and it just worked perfectly that you were done
Work,
with it in the summer, and I got to drive out there in the most beautiful time of the year. But
worked great for me too. No
yeah. Anyway, we did it, ran long a little bit, but we really did it. Thank you so much for everything from me and
for having me.
the Birdman, me and my dad.
Thank you, Birdman.
You've got a copy of the book.
I do. It's next to my bed.
Have you been reading it?
Not as much as I should be, if I'm being completely honest. It's hard to pin me down and get me to read a book, but
You're too busy dreaming up guitars. Well, I'm glad you have it though, and it's been inspiring. And this has been an amazing collaboration.
I've enjoyed it myself.
I hope it's not over yet. I want to become a concert promoter.
I'm not going anywhere.
Bring the Surf Zombies to Nashville.
Okay, I might go to Nashville. How's that?
Yes. Okay, we did it all. I cannot thank you enough. Give me a Yelp review as a podcast interviewer. How did I do?
Right now we're on Yelp. Emily was very accommodating. I appreciated that she wore a matching shirt and adorned her camera field of view with memorabilia from my own life. Surf Zombies, Nepco, Birdman. It's all there.
Yes.
So 5 out of 5.
Okay, well, I'm going to give Nepco Guitars 11 out of 10. It goes to 11.
You're making my 5 out of 5 sound really bad now. I didn't mean anything by it.
No, it usually is 5 stars on Yelp, but thank you. I cannot thank you enough for finally doing this with me. And we're going to get this published, and I hope people will enjoy it as much as I enjoyed visiting with you on this freezing cold Sunday night. I was very excited all day long. I went to a guitar swap today. I saw some friends, and I said, I get to see Ian Williams tonight. He built my guitar for me, my flying sitar.
Perfect.
So thank you. So
yes,
we're going to
thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we're going to sign off now. I'm going to hit stop from the lipstick pickup, and then I'm just going to say goodbye to you off camera, and then we'll be done. Say goodbye, Ian.
Bye.
Ding. Later. If you hear excellent tone and the sound of birds chirping, it means you've made it through an entire episode of the Lipstick Pickup podcast. You're as free as a bird now, but I hope you'll join me again soon. Comments or questions? I can be reached at emily@thelipstickpickup.com.